Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, so today we're bringing you a side-by-side comparison between the best of the best on Android right now, and that is the Galaxy S4 versus the HTC One benchmark test comparison. Now, of course, we all know that benchmark scores don't mean everything, but you tuned into this video to see the benchmark test scores. So we're going to try them out. So these are the four benchmark scores we'll be going through. So through Quadrant, through Antutu, Geekbench 2, and 3D Mark. So let's check each of them out. And first let's go over the system information to see what we got packed in here. So first thing we got is 4.2.2 versus 4.1.2. So Samsung is boasting the latest version of Android, while HTC is one step behind right now. In terms of processors, they're a little bit different as well. We have the 1.9 gigahertz on here versus the 1.7 gigahertz on here. And we can see their exact numbers on here, though. It's more 1.89 versus 1.72. So closer than it might lead on to believe. These are both quad cores, of course, with the same kind of architecture. However, on the RAM, it is a bit different. Even though they both say they're 2 gigs of RAM, Samsung seems to use less RAM built in compared to the HTC One. So that was one thing I suspected just from performance speed. The Samsung has done a little bit better overall and kind of reflected in the benchmark test. So we also have, of course, the 320 graphics card built in, and everything else should be the same, of course. So there we go. Although actually we can see the shader language is a bit more advanced on the S4 compared to the HTC One. But let's run the full benchmark test and see how they go. And pointing out one thing, right away you can see the black difference on the screens. We will go through a screen comparison. So kind of test out between just text, from text to web browsing to photos and videos, just to do a screen comparison between these two phones, because these ones really are top in the Android market. They have no real competitors. The next one that will be a main competitor will be the Nexus, the next Nexus phone. But besides that, this is really just between these two phones. All right. And so, as expected, very close scores, but the S4 will come out slightly on top. It should come out slightly on top hardware-wise for each of these, but that's what we're here to test out. So, both over 1200 with only the S4 beating it out by about 200 more points, both very close on Quadrant. And just taking away each of these. Now let's go through an Antutu. And let's check out the scores. Now, surprisingly, actually, HTC kind of got a random one the last time we tested it out, and Samsung got a lower one, so that's what we're seeing right here. But let's check them out right on live. Whoa. Oh, sorry, I hit check scores. I didn't hit the test. Sorry about that, guys. And let's test it out. I'll move them a little bit higher so we can see the frames per second. And the Samsung seems to be a little step ahead of the HTC. I'm not sure if I just hit it first, but it's moving a little bit quicker through the test now. Alright, Samsung's about to be finished up, and the HTC is still just going through the graphics. Someone did point out last time when I did the S4 benchmark score was like older version. It was the version at the time. This is the current version now, so right now they're both on 3.3 for Antutu. Alright, so we have 143 for the S4, and we're about to see as they're all getting notification from Facebook. Thank you very much, Facebook. And we're seeing 19440 from the HTC. So, wow. That was the difference. As we did see, the HTC did score like a 23 a second ago, so I do want to point that out. You know, these are averages more so what we're usually getting, so. And this is the current test that we've seen for this device. So let's see how they compare on the chart. And so, actually, this one scored above the regular S4 one right now, even comparing to the normal. HTC, as you can see, has gone on average anywhere from 19 to 23. S4, however, starts off at about 23 to 27 on most of the tests that I've done here. So for Antutu, that does check out all quad cores. It does seem to be scoring a bit better. And let me just go through here. And now let's go to Geekbench. And this was something I was pointing out beforehand, that on this device, we're getting 1.78 in the RAM compared to the 1.53. So even though they say they're 2 gigs RAM, they're not actually 2 gigs of RAM. So that does, of course, we always expect it not to be 2, but Samsung is obviously providing more of the RAM for usage. Alright, and the S4 just finished, and we're about to see where the HTC One finishes. So, you can clearly see, I mean, on this test, definitely just a step above the rest. Sorry, I did notice that my S4 screen dimmed. I do have it on adaptive screen so that it will dim automatically when like white text is there, because you don't need a bright screen when that happens. But yeah, you can see from the integrated score to the floating to the memory and even to streaming, the S4 does do better. However, compared to like older devices, this is much more inclined with a lot of the older devices like the Nexus 10. Now, keep in mind, this is, you know, it fluctuates. So in my last test, I did get a bit better than that. It was like 27, I believe. but again, the S4 just kind of consistently stays on top for benchmark scores. Now, for the last one, the 3D benchmark one, I unfortunately cannot actually run the benchmark test as I got the video taken down before. However, if we take a look at, do not look at the high score on here. Unfortunately, even though I've repeatedly sent 3D benchmark messages many times now, they do not update their high scores. For some reason, it keeps getting stuck at the 9,000 scores instead of being to the much higher scores that the S4 has gotten. So when you compare here, though, so comparing the ice storm going from getting from 8 and 9 to the ice storm on here getting 10 to 11, just definitely better. And the 52 and 54 comparing to the 68, 64, 66, just definitely a step ahead on the 3D rendering. And it definitely shows more so when you're actually doing these tests for the 3D benchmark one. When I actually ran the test, I could notice stuttering on here at times where I never noticed stuttering on the S4. Actually, the first time I noticed stuttering was on my Note 8. I ever saw stuttering because I was like, wow, why doesn't it run as smooth like the S4 did? Because that was the first one I did the 3D Mark test on, and I didn't know it could stutter, just because the S4 was always smooth. So in terms of benchmark scores, definitely the S4 is the winner here, which we were expecting it to be. It does have the better hardware built in on it, so it should test out better. But that was a direct side-by-side benchmark comparison, so you can kind of see in real life test, it really, they are very similar. However, I would say the Samsung does a bit more consistently run smooth, and even in terms of like transitions. I hate that HTC changed theirs. But in terms of transition, it tends to run a bit smoother and just a little bit how it runs. But we'll test it out more so and see how it goes through all the way and which one really is the best device out there. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to ask. This has been RZKY, the Android Guy.